This is being reborn as Sasuke in Konoha Part 10. Hope you guys like it. Chapter 46, V.1C.46 Search for Tsunade 3. Impossible. I refuse. Was Tsunade's response. I remember those words. You said those same words when I asked you to go out with me. Jiraiya said. There can't be no other fifth Hokage but this Tsunade. He also said this specifically to Sasuke, whom Jiraiya had not explained anything to. After saying a little more behind Tsunade's backstory, Jiraiya came back around. If she becomes Hokage, that also means she will come back to the village. It seems that you have at least managed to find yourself an apprentice that is good looking. And an Uchiha at that, but he is awfully silent. Tsunade said, regarding Sasuke a little. If only you were younger. Sasuke sighed inwardly. Jiraiya said some things about his former apprentice, the fourth Hokage, and his brilliance. Of course, Jiraiya said that Minato and Sasuke were both as good looking as himself while in his youth. This guy really, comparing myself to you. I don't care about the fourth Hokage, but can you not say that your handsomeness is as good as my own? Sasuke thought as Jiraiya commented. But even that fourth Hokage died quickly. Risking his own life for the village. Life is different from money. To easily risk it and lose it, is a fool's doing. Both my grandfather and the second Hokage seemed to want to subdue all disturbances of war above all else. But after all, they died in vain, in the midst of their dreams for the village. Tsunade replied. You've changed, Tsunade. Jiraiya responded. I don't know what you thought in your heart before, but to say such things out loud. A small giggle escaped Tsunade as she replied. Although I look young, I'm already in my 50s. Years change people. After some anticipation, Tsunade still had losing cards. Leaning back, she continues. Hokage is a bother. No one but a fool would take it on. Is that right? Sasuke had this look on his face that seemed to irk Tsunade. Being a fool would imply they acted unwisely or imprudently. Oh. And what is it to you? Tsunade asked Sasuke. Well. I could argue that Lady Tsunade is the one acting the fool. Sasuke replied, further leading to Tsunade developing some hint of annoyance. I think it would be best to. Jiraiya was interrupted by Tsunade standing up and pointing towards Sasuke. How so? Well, gambling, getting into debt, forever running away from your problems, drinking yourself into oblivion, and other things that I am sure affect you. Sasuke nodded his head as he said this, fully intending to start some shit with the slug princess. How bold. In place of words, how about we take this outside and I show you that I am in fact not a fool? Tsunade challenged Sasuke, with Jiraiya sighing in the background at these two. Lady Tsunade. Shitsune said, trying to make her calm down at this point, but it was likely Sasuke's look, along with his subtle taunting, had been enough to lure her into engaging with Sasuke. Although I may not look like it, I am one of the Sannin. Why should I even take a genin seriously? Tsunade herself, slightly drunk at least, tried to make Sasuke angry or at least irritated at her comment. However, why would I care for titles or ranks like that? Sasuke thought, his Sharingan eyes perfectly remembering every curve of Tsunade's body. Damn. Even after having admitted her appeal, how come I still have such desires? This is really affecting me. Maybe I have been around this pervy sage for too long now, I am becoming like him. Sharingan. Impressive to have awakened it fully at this age. Tsunade thought to herself. And he is the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki as well. I don't know what Minato was thinking. Lifting up her finger, Tsunade posed for a bit. An advance notice for a KO? Jiraiya asked. I don't mean 1 minute. With one finger. This is enough to take you down. Tsunade said. I don't doubt it. If you said I am only able to last for a minute, then I would be more offended. Sasuke thought. Lady Tsunade. Shitsune said in a cautious tone. Well. Come on, kiddo. Tsunade gestured with that very same finger, thinking herself above and beyond Sasuke's current capabilities. Sasuke walked forward, his eyes regarding everything about Tsunade, as even in this drunken state, she could probably beat him down with just Taijutsu alone. Her physical strength is really powerful. Well, that is if I don't use something like the 8 gates, but there is no need to go that far. Sasuke moved forward in a manner that seemed to put Tsunade in a trance. Genjutsu. Tsunade quickly dispelled the effect, before going forward and using her finger to flick Sasuke on his forehead. However, Sasuke maneuvered himself around her finger easily. What? Those movements are definitely not at the level of a genin. Tsunade took it another step up, while still keeping to her arrogance of using one finger. She tried to hit Sasuke many number of times but was unable to do so. I see everything, Sasuke said, which reminded Tsunade of his eyes. The eyes of the clan, her clan, the Senju were rivals of. Right. So I will just move even faster then, so his eyes are unable to keep up. Tsunade thought but would be surprised again that Sasuke was able to match her pace. Jumping back, Sasuke says. I may not know much, but I thought the legendary Sannin would be better than this. He shrugged his shoulders, before continuing. I admit that I am unable to defeat you, as I am now, but I think we should bet on something. Heh. You already admitted defeat. And what could you possibly want or even have in exchange for whatever you want? Tsunade asked. I just want to learn from you, that is all. I also believe that there is someone else within Konoha itself that would be able to learn a lot from you. She has a lot of potential. Sasuke answered. Tsunade laughs before she responds. Got yourself a girlfriend, do you? Jiraiya, you sure have rubbed off on the kid. That's not my fault. The kid is practically loved by all those his age within the village. Jiraiya replied, before adding. But I must admit, ever since he has been under me, his popularity has sure risen. Of course. Sasuke's sweat dropped at Jiraiya's falsification. No matter, he can have some of my fame, I guess. Are you in, or not? I am not even asking you to return to Konoha and become Hokage. Narrowing her eyes, Tsunade asks. Those are your terms. What do I get? And how is the winner decided? Well, I decided what I want, so you shall decide what you want. The condition for winning is. Sasuke glanced at Jiraiya, then Shitsune before his eyes landed back on Tsunade. I take that necklace off of you. Sasuke sure to point out the necklace she is currently wearing. She pauses for a moment, before regaining herself and says. You're on. Come and get it then. She gestured again, this time looking like she was taking this more seriously. Sasuke speed forward this time, his speed faster than before. His speed increased. Tsunade points her finger downwards, smashing the ground, hoping to interrupt his movement, but it doesn't. Incredible strength. I must learn everything I can from her. Sasuke was now determined, and while he set the bar high, it was done so on purpose. Otherwise she wouldn't take it as seriously, where if he takes said necklace, she would be forced into giving him what he wants, instead of trying to run off like she usually does. Tsunade tries multiple times to get him to stop, but her blows were avoided, and she got irritated. Her fist enclosed accidentally, it seemed as if she was going to strike Sasuke right there with her full strength behind that punch. Damn it. I can't stop. Tsunade was taken off guard, which made her resort to awakening her instincts to stave off Sasuke from taking the necklace. However, that didn't mean she wanted to harm the boy all too much. Sasuke reached forward, his Sharingan eyes making everything go in slow motion, locking onto his target. He knows that he must dodge. Well, it's a good that you haven't been able to notice how badly my genjutsu has been affecting you. Sasuke smirked as his face was closer and closer to her fist, but she was unable to stop. She also started to get annoyed at Sasuke's smirk that rested upon his face. Damn brat. Okay then, don't blame me for this. The next second, time resumed to normal as Sasuke landed behind Tsunade. What? Jiraiya thought seeing something he didn't expect to see again, like ever. Tsunade and Shitsune were confused. For 1 second Sasuke was about to be punched, and the next he had disappeared, appearing behind her. Would you look at that? Sasuke held up the necklace within his hand, having grabbed it before he used that technique. Sasuke. Jiraiya had a serious look in his eye. Where did you learn that technique? What happened? Tsunade was confused, not catching on to what had just happened, and neither did Shitsune. A long time ago, supposedly when I was a babe, I had picked up one of the clearly written seals for this technique. Or at least, that is what my mother told me, but she didn't know what it was. Sasuke replied. Soon enough, the older I got and the more I learned and studied Fuinjutsu, I managed to recreate this technique for my own use. The Hirashin. I see. Jiraiya was shocked, and so was Tsunade and even Shitsune, for most ninja knew of this strong and powerful technique used by the second and fourth Hokages. Well, Tsunade. It seems like you will have to keep your end of the deal then. Jiraiya smiled an irritating smile that irked Tsunade, but even more so was the smirk on Sasuke's face, something she wanted to wipe off of his face. The more I think about it, however. Tsunade regarded Sasuke before saying. I guess. Sasuke approached, leaning in and wrapping the necklace around Tsunade's neck. He whispers out of everyone's earshot excluding his own and Tsunade's. A beautiful necklace should stay on a beautiful woman anyway. Tsunade blushed just a tiny bit more, adding on to the blush she has due to the alcohol she had consumed previously, before regaining control of herself. Sasuke then stepped back and continued. How about this? Now that I have won, you may have second thoughts about this second wager, but... Tsunade was still listening, meaning she at least acknowledged that Sasuke had some form or sway within her mind. The looks probably help. Sasuke thought. Go on. Tsunade said. This time, I want that necklace. Frowning, Tsunade was about to say no, but Sasuke continued. If I lose, then you may not listen to the last demand I made. The rules of the game are. You will decide what I must do to win, of course it must be something reasonable. Sasuke said. Narrowing her eyes once again, Tsunade regards Sasuke with a smirk, her desire to gamble feeling like she would be lucky, grinned. Okay then, it's a deal. She was swept away within the moment, and would not realize until later that she would lose no matter what she asked of Sasuke. Later on at night time, Shitsune had knocked on the door of the place that Sasuke was staying in, as he didn't want to share a room with Jiraiya. I have the money and that old man is stingy, trying to lodge with me. I'm sorry to bother you so late, Sasuke. I need to talk to you. Shitsune said. Come in. Sasuke replied, Shitsune stepping in and regarding the person before her. Her thoughts drifted a bit to his rather handsome appearance, but she regathered herself as she was here for something else. I'm sorry, but I didn't want you to misunderstand Lady Tsunade. As well as the necklace. Shitsune seemed like she was worried. Excuse me, Miss Shitsune, but I am sure any business like that can be handled between myself and Lady Tsunade. Sasuke responded a bit coldly here, as is needed to get her to have an outburst and give him a reason to know things that he shouldn't know. Lady Tsunade is not the type of person that you think she is. You don't even know who she is, and yet you speak in a way that you know her. Realizing her outburst, Shitsune's face softens. I am sorry for raising my voice. She didn't used to be like this. She was a kind person who loved the village. Shitsune explained a little bit, before getting heated again. Besides, that necklace is really not something for you to wear. It's not just a necklace. It doesn't acknowledge anyone other than Lady Tsunade. If someone else wears it, that person will inevitably dies. Shitsune finished. Death is a natural thing, is it not? Everything dies, whether it be in protecting someone you love, dying for revenge, or of natural causes. It is another state of life. Sasuke responded, his Sharingan eyes staring deep into Shitsune's eyes. Fearing death is simple, easy, and completely natural. But one should not live their life only thinking of their death. As such, I fear not what that necklace will do, as there are many more things that may take my life. Thank you, your warning has been taken into account. You may leave. Sasuke watched as Shitsune left, a little stunned at being talked to like that by Sasuke. Unfortunately, there are only so many ways one can run. Eventually, death comes to us all. But maybe. Comment. 12 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 47, V.1C.47 5th Hokage. Ha. Who knew that the small amount of Mithridatism training I did would help me out so early? Sasuke thought, his head pounding a bit due to having been offered drink from Tsunade, which did knock him out. Usually, any wounds would heal overnight, leading to Sasuke not needing such a thing as repetitive exposure to toxins. However, with his control over the seal, Sasuke is able to block the Kyuubi's chakra from entering his system anytime he wants, thus allowing him to have a complete chokehold on whether he wants to be healed or not. Thankfully I can maintain these changes while unconscious as well. Thinking of Tsunade, she probably got Jiraiya and Shitsune as well. Looking around, Sasuke did spot that Shitsune was on the ground. Well. Orochimaru has gotten to her. I better wake her up then, and probably chase after Tsunade and try and use my own version of Talk no Jutsu, just in case. Getting down from the bed he had been placed on, Sasuke walked over towards Shitsune. Knocked out. Cold. Applying some medical ninjutsu, Sasuke woke Shitsune up. Oh no. What time is it? No, what day is it? Shitsune asked in a panic. It is Monday. Sasuke replied, his eyes making Shitsune blush a tiny bit, before she recomposed herself and sat up off of the ground. Why did the chicken want to cross the road? He asked, confusing Shitsune. What? Just answer. Well. I don't know. She sounded unsure. No. Well, I don't know either. Sasuke replied, his face taking on a look that made him seem a bit silly. Shitsune in turn laughed a little, surprised at the eccentricities of Sasuke Uchiha. Shitsune held her side of this, remembering the wound she had sustained from Tsunade. That's right. This isn't the time for this. Shitsune liked the little pick-me-up, before she needed to get serious again. Getting up, Shitsune went towards the window. Before jumping out she was interrupted by Jiraiya. Wait, Shitsune. He was struggling to even stand or even talk properly. After getting him seated, Jiraiya started. That darn Tsunade spiked my drink. I can't build up my chakra well. And my body is so numb, I can barely throw a kunai knife. Looking down, he continues. Even though she is rotten, she is still a medical specialist. She is the only one who could concoct a tasteless and odorless drug for ninja. But to think I'd be caught off guard, no matter how intoxicated I was. Now that I think about it, a lot of people dreamed of being the Hokage. I suppose I see their reasoning, but at the same time there is just no need to go that far. Sasuke thought as he was now going along with Shitsune and Jiraiya, towards where Tsunade and Orochimaru probably is. Oi. Sasuke. I was hoping that you would have placed a Hiraishin mark on Tsunade, did you not? Jiraiya asked. Of course I did, but that wouldn't be conducive to further manipulating the things into what I want. Sasuke thought before saying out loud. No. I didn't think I would need one, to be honest. TCH. Jiraiya was hoping that Sasuke had done so, but he also realizes there is and was no reason to do so on Tsunade. No. It may have been useless anyway, arriving as we are. But it would have given us a chance to be there quicker and persuade Tsunade from going through with the deal. Whatever Jiraiya was thinking, Sasuke had already planned around that as well. Specifically, he would very subtly implant things that would remind Tsunade of her former lover and younger brother. After all, his genjutsu had the level of being able to even trick the Sannin. But my overall abilities do not reach that state. Sasuke had a special talent for all things related to genjutsu, different from the original. He also liked illusions, or the capabilities of illusions as they affect one's perception, and one's perception is linked to the consciousness. Their mind and how someone sees the world, which is why Kotomatsu Kami is the greatest of all illusionary techniques. Even above infinite Tsukuyomi. At least it is for Sasuke, its use is much more powerful and useful for himself. Tsunade had been forced to confront what her loved ones had left with her, and that were their dreams. For even if they lived now, if the village was destroyed, then her lover and younger brother would probably be lifeless. Nobody may exist on purpose, nor belong anywhere, but that doesn't mean their dreams aren't their purpose, and where they belong cannot be created. Sasuke had basically manipulated Tsunade into this choice, but it was risky. He was not Naruto, which meant he didn't have the same energy or dream as Naruto, so he couldn't fulfill that role. I am most certainly not going to be her stand-in younger brother figure. Because that is essentially what Tsunade had viewed Naruto as, even though he would be closer to being a grandson instead. Hopping from tree to tree, Sasuke wondered how things were going. If I really have to, I have Kotomatsu Kami. But that would be boring, given that it can trump most opponents now, and he doesn't have the same hesitation that Shisui had when using this ability. But who do I use it on? Tsunade or Orochimaru? Or both? Sasuke was pondering if it would be needed. We shall see, besides, she still hasn't taught me anything yet. Sasuke focused back on the journey, as Jiraiya and Shitsune were in front, leading the way. If anyone was wondering what happened during the small blank period, Sasuke was not taught anything and Tsunade made excuses. She didn't even come up with a way to test him yet, making Sasuke wait on her win condition so that he may take that necklace. It may not be of any value in regards to power, but it is worth money, so I shall make it mine. It didn't help that Tsunade was also subtly manipulated by Sasuke through genjutsu, so that she may see the error of her ways. Arriving at another area, the three come across some damage down to the area. Entire walls were busted down. Ha! Princess Tsunade tore it up, big time. Jiraiya said, looking around. Walking forward, Sasuke noticed Tsunade's coat with the symbol for gamble laying on the ground. Tunton. Which way? Shitsune asked her small pet pig that was able to do a few things. The pig was sniffing the piece of clothing, before pointing out the way. A small little fight was happening, with Tsunade about to be hit with the kunai knife of Kabuto, as Orochimaru watched on in this outer field. Sasuke, Shitsune and Jiraiya all showed up in front of the injured Tsunade, who seemed to be engaging Kabuto. It's been a long time, Jiraiya. Orochimaru said, his eyes also drifting towards Sasuke, the target that he was unable to get a hold of. He didn't really gain or accomplish any of his goals during the Konoha crush. But it seems like I will be able to get a hold of Sasuke. To make up for the losses then, he would try to get Sasuke now. However, he has to find a way to beat his current protector, Jiraiya. It is like my plans are useless. Always failing. Orochimaru's eyes were intense. Replying, Jiraiya says. You've got an evil look as usual. Sasuke nodded towards Kabuto, whom wasn't so surprised by Sasuke being here for he had recently just went towards where those three were. Kabuto replied to Sasuke's greeting. Sasuke. You know each other? Jiraiya asked. Kabuto happened to be taking the Chunin exam. Sasuke answered. Get out my way. Tsunade pushed Jiraiya out of the way before proceeding to attack Kabuto. I'll take these guys. Just because you've mastered your body's movements, it doesn't mean you can move like normal. Back up to a rock, Kabuto was facing off against Tsunade's wrath. I won't let you get away. Too late. Kabuto reached for a kunai, while Tsunade went in for a punch. However, what happened next had Kabuto in a winning position. My body movements have finally returned. Kabuto said, as Tsunade was covered in blood, stopping her dead in her tracks. Having two legendary Sannin as opponents is hairy, isn't it? So even if it's just one. I'll stop you. Kabuto punched the stunned Tsunade, all the way back into Shitsune. Lady Tsunade. Shitsune said as she caught Tsunade. Please don't push it too far alone. I'm your attendant, so. Shitsune helped Tsunade as she was. Sasuke was about to start fighting Kabuto for a bit, but Kabuto got himself beside Orochimaru first, probably not wanting to engage Sasuke just yet. Kabuto took out a pill, before he started to eat it. A plasma pill. Shitsune said. So he's trying to replenish lost blood, huh? Jiraiya said. That kid is a medical ninja, same as me. Shitsune supplied. The blood is gushing out nicely, eh, Kabuto? Orochimaru said, his eyes still looking upon those present. Lord Orochimaru. Please take off the bandage on your left arm. Kabuto replied, and when Orochimaru did so, his arm was completely blackened. Shitsune, you take care of the guy with glasses. I will take care of Orochimaru. Jiraiya said, leaving Sasuke out of the equation, probably knowing that Orochimaru would try and get Sasuke with a curse mark. Lady Tsunade. Sasuke approached her. If I may. Tsunade looked into the red eyes of Sasuke, before being surprised that Sasuke was using the medical ninjutsu technique. What? Is this why the brat wanted to learn from me? Tsunade eyed his technique and was surprised by what looked like a mastered medical ninjutsu technique. Amazing. Tsunade nodded her head to Sasuke. Ha. You just have so many surprises now, don't you, Sasuke? Jiraiya said, not looking for an answer, his face shocked that Sasuke knew of and could use medical ninjutsu. After this, some summoning techniques were used, with Jiraiya being unable to summon something of significance, whereas Orochimaru and Kabuto managed to summon some gigantic snakes. After some talking back and forth, the fight began. Don't worry. I got Lady Tsunade. Sasuke said towards Shitsune, whom wanted to help Tsunade, but complied with what was said by Sasuke. While the fight finally broke out, Sasuke was helping Tsunade heal up. He was also watching everything happening with his Sharingan, as he would like to copy some more techniques as well. I can't lose out to Kakashi, right? Sasuke thought, keeping his attention split so that he may go and help Shitsune if need be. Which she would need soon enough. But at the same time, I need to recreate some more scenes to further push this woman to do anything. I can't take the long route of having to get her into therapy and all that, and I don't want to use Kotomatsu Kami. So I will pretend like I am actually fighting Kabuto, before getting KO'd. Sasuke created those exact conditions, with a shadow clone in his place. He started to delve deep into the shadows, waiting and watching Tsunade now being confronted by Kabuto. Stop. Stay back. Please hang on, Lady Tsunade. The Sannin name, which Lord Orochimaru is also called, will cry. Kabuto said, before going in for a kick. Well, I was going to watch and wait, but watching an old woman get beat up is not cool. Sasuke thought before dispersing the shadow clone, and transported himself through the Hiraishin seal on Tsunade and stopping Kabuto. Don't you know any better? Shouldn't you respect your elders? Sasuke said, stopping Kabuto's foot from reaching Tsunade. Sasuke. Why don't you join Lord Orochimaru, and gain immense power? Is that not what you want? I have analyzed you and can tell that you seek something like power. Is that not correct? Kabuto had jumped back before saying this. Not answering my question. Sasuke's eyes peered deep into Kabuto. Shit. Don't look at his eyes. Kabuto thought before looking down, so to not be caught up in a visual genjutsu. However, who said anything about genjutsu? Sasuke launched forward, and Kabuto noticed, trying to get out of the way but stuck. What? Looking down, Kabuto was surprised to find himself stuck in some sort of trap technique. When did he? It was too late, for Sasuke punched Kabuto away, making sure to stay away from blood, given Tsunade's condition. That was easy. Sasuke said to himself, but knew that his battle was not over yet. Instead, Sasuke spoke to Tsunade. Being Hokage may be no fun, but I at least see the importance of that position. If I were to want to be the Hokage, then it wouldn't be because I am a fool like all of them. No. Sasuke shook his head. It would be because. Sasuke's eyes of the Sharingan captured Tsunade's full attention. Tell me, what do I have to do to win that unlucky necklace of yours? I'll run away. Tsunade said. Really? Are you sure you want it to be that easy? Sasuke smirked, having fully trapped Tsunade now. Tsunade nodded her head, and Sasuke lifted Tsunade over his shoulder. Then I shall run. I shall run away, and you shall witness me running. Tsunade seemed disheartened at this comment, before Sasuke continued. Witness me running away from cowardice, that is. Sasuke in his other hand generated the Rasengan, and before Kabuto could strike he hit him back with the Rasengan, taking Kabuto. Now, I would like my necklace. Sasuke watched as Kabuto tried to move forward despite the damage, and heal. However, Kabuto still fell in the end, having his chakra exhausted. Comment. 9 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 48, V.1C.48 5th Hokage 2. Sasuke put Tsunade down, before taking the necklace on her neck. I won it. I ran away like you said, but you didn't say what I would run away from, so I take this as my win. Orochimaru and Jiraiya were still battling themselves, before Orochimaru took his chance to go after Sasuke. Of course he would not be able to do anything, with Sasuke having to help move Tsunade again, and with Orochimaru still trying to put a mark on him. Maybe I should give up on Sasuke's body, as unfortunate as it is. Orochimaru thought, as even though he failed in what he wanted to do, Orochimaru also didn't want the Akatsuki to achieve what they were doing as well. Sasuke has now become a prime target, especially since Orochimaru also discovered that the other Jinchuriki for the Kyuubi is no longer a Jinchuriki. I guess I will have to find someone else within the village, and I do believe there is someone I have in mind. Orochimaru had more targets he could choose to go after. Specifically other children from the Uchiha that would for sure join him, unlike the stubborn Sasuke Uchiha. Itachi and Sasuke, I cannot get either of them. Orochimaru now had new plans for a new vessel he planned to get his hands on, and would be undoubtedly easier to control as well, without having to be bogged down by the idea of the Akatsuki hunting him down if he took their body. Then I should kill Sasuke, instead. Orochimaru started and tried to hit Sasuke, but it was impossible to do so, at least for him right now as he is. If you live, there will be trouble in the future on a variety of levels. Why don't you lay down your life here? Oh. So you wish not to take me as a vessel now? Is that it? Sasuke replied, asking for he didn't understand why Orochimaru changed his mind. Orochimaru didn't reply, instead looking towards Tsunade. Oh. Tsunade, you're still good. Being protected must be nice. Sasuke. Tsunade allowed herself to put the necklace around Sasuke's neck, before pushing him aside and saying, "You stay back now." Tsunade and Orochimaru would have some back and forth, talking to each other about things. Ideals or dreams and stuff like that, boring Sasuke a little. Even the little saying about how being the Hokage is a fool's job, something that Tsunade had said herself. Her own words spit back at her by Orochimaru certainly drew an effect for Tsunade as she listened to her former teammate. Tsunade even decided to say a few words about wanting to protect Sasuke, something which was definitely unexpected. I mean, I am pretty sure she doesn't see me as a stand-in for her little brother, right? Sasuke couldn't know everything going through the mind of the Slug Princess, given he cannot read minds. Yet, Sasuke decided to take this chance to go over towards Shitsune as Tsunade was facing off against Orochimaru just now. Let's see. Allowing himself to view Shitsune, he started to heal her some, splitting his attention both ways. One on Tsunade and Orochimaru, the other on Shitsune and the healing process. If your life is worth throwing away for him. Orochimaru started. Then dying now would be a fitting end. However, unlike being cued down, Tsunade was healed just enough to avoid the blow. Orochimaru would manage to land a few hits on Tsunade however, but the damage was not as great as it would have been if she wasn't healed a bit by Sasuke. The small blue diamond on Tsunade's head would be used at some point or another, however, Sasuke's healing was enough to make sure she didn't further shorten her lifespan. I mean, why should she hasten the process of her dying? How silly. The creation rebirth was invented by Tsunade with the resolution to protect the lives of her comrades. By releasing a large amount of chakra at once, the body's cell division is forcibly stimulated. Whenever the body's tissues are damaged or an organ is destroyed, the injury will instantly heal regardless of the severity. So long as creation rebirth remains active, the user cannot die, earning it recognition as the pinnacle of medical ninjutsu and the ultimate regeneration technique. Creation rebirth does not repair the old cells, instead hastening the creation of new ones through division. Because a body's cells can only split a certain number of times, the user shortens their natural lifespan whenever this technique is used. Soon enough a battle between the three Sannin begins, with Tsunade willing to use her specially created technique. Of course, I can't allow that to happen, now can I? Sasuke thought, before building up some chakra within his eyes. Looking towards Orochimaru, Tsunade and Jiraiya as they started to engage in a 2 versus 1, in the end Orochimaru would lose. Let's use some suggestions. Sasuke thought as he used genjutsu on Tsunade, just to stop her from using her special technique, as he would save her just in case something went wrong. In the end however, Tsunade would not use it no matter, and so too would the battle end in a similar manner to how things would have gone. I need to help Lady Tsunade. Shitsune called out but was stopped by Sasuke. Stay still. You have been healed, but the fighting is over. For now. Sasuke told her before watching as he captured the fighting styles and techniques everyone was using. I really want that strength though. As a descendant of both the Senju and Uzumaki clans, Tsunade inherited their life force and physical energy, enabling her to not only battle the likes of Madara Uchiha for over half a day without exhaustion, but even survive being bisected and retain consciousness long enough to heal others before being healed herself. Her reserves of chakra are immense, enough to heal several thousand shinobi during the large-scale battle or war. She also has excellent control over her chakra. Tsunade can build up chakra in her fists and release it on contact with a target, causing severe damage. Tsunade presumably uses this ability herself, but it isn't always clear when, since she is naturally very strong, enough to lift Gamabunta's sword and was noted by Hashirama to have possessed immense strength even when only a few years old. If I remember correctly, she even has the strength to break through Susanoo, an absolute defense with only a few hits. Sasuke thought as he looked upon the small battlegrounds, reshaped a little due to the conflict between the three Sannin. To a certain extent, her unnatural strength helps her in this regard, as opponents may avoid getting near her so that she cannot strike them. At the same time, though, Tsunade is regularly injured in combat, even going so far as to place herself in harm's way in order to protect her allies. This is all because Tsunade deems her creation rebirth ability a reasonable exception to the avoid injury tenet, as she can receive serious damage and still survive. Even without the creation rebirth, Tsunade's ability to endure injury is quite impressive, as she can survive several mortal stabs to the chest and remain able to perform jutsu after being bisected. Those Uzumaki genetics sure do help. I will need to change that, if I am to make use of the old lady. Sasuke thought, his eyes traveling to Orochimaru who was going into the ground. With one last look, Orochimaru seemed to communicate something through his eyes towards Sasuke. Orochimaru was gone, and soon enough, Kabuto was gone as well. After everything settled down, Jiraiya and Tsunade had gotten themselves to Sasuke and Shitsune. Tsunade, you haven't changed. You're no good at wagers. Jiraiya said as he saw that Sasuke happened to have a brand new piece of jewelry around his neck. Tsunade swayed before nearly falling, however Sasuke taking his chance grabbed a hold of the older woman. Lady Tsunade. While I liked that you protected me, it seems that you would need some rest. Sasuke said. Tsunade on the other hand destabilized herself and pushed Sasuke away from herself. You brat. Her youthful appearance was still there, and she seems to have been embarrassed a little from Sasuke's actions. Narrowing her eyes, Tsunade looked into Sasuke's eyes and saw something strange. His eyes. Sasuke's eyes for some reason made her feel a strange warmth in her chest. I am old, and I feel this way for someone way younger than myself. Shaking her head, Tsunade says. Right. Since I lost, I guess that means I should teach you then. And whatever girlfriend you said you wanted to learn under me as well. However, there are some prerequisites that I shall have for her. Tsunade continued. How did you know it was a her? Sasuke asked. You didn't dispute and correct me when I said it was your girlfriend. And you are most definitely the type to be a player. Just looking at you and I can tell. Tsunade nodded her head as she said this. Ha ha ha. That is right. My student takes after his illustrious teacher. Jiraiya laughed as he said this, claiming that he is somehow responsible for Sasuke's luck with girls. Shut up, you. Tsunade just about punched Jiraiya. Also. I'll do it. I'll become Hokage. Tsunade said, something that Sasuke was planning for but was still surprised either way that he was able to manipulate his way into getting her to accept either way. Well, with Tsunade and Jiraiya, I think I will be adequately protected for the next few years. Sasuke thought as they started to travel back towards the town. Everything was over now and Tsunade had decided she would come to Konoha and implant herself into everything going on over there. First things first, however. Tsunade once again looked at Sasuke, seeing his eyes. To have mastered the Hiraishin at such a young age, and be able to have such an advanced medical technique. Tsunade kept getting surprises from the young Sasuke, where he was even a tiny bit taller than herself at this point. His overall demeanor as well. Sasuke's looks were actually very basic, but he pulled it off. Fully black clothing covering his body, black hair, chin length that parted to frame the sides of his face. His overall appearance, Tsunade would have to grade as very high. Possibly even the best looking boy she had seen, even compared to her deceased lover. Sasuke's clothing was some form of mesh armor, which was interwoven into the fabric used so that there was nothing to hinder him and his movements. Despite having mainly this black color, Sasuke's cloak of choice was white in coloring. There was no other color on him, other than his red eyes that always had the Sharingan's form active. other than the new addition that could be seen, as Sasuke's coat was not fully encasing his form. Around his neck, the first Hokage's necklace would be seen hanging from his neck. A necklace originally belonging to Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage. It was made from a special crystal gem and augmented his abilities to capture and control tailed beasts. And now it is mine. Back in the town, everyone had taken a day to recover from their little rough housing. The four of them, Tsunade, Jiraiya, Shitsune and Sasuke had gathered within the same place that they had met each other. Seated, Tsunade was now content with becoming the Hokage. Now, we will begin your training once we arrive back to the village. Tsunade said to Sasuke. We may be able to start once we leave though. Lady Tsunade, forgive me but, compared to the third Hokage, you are. Sasuke regarded her, annoying Tsunade at Sasuke's look. Rough-natured, selfish, bad with money, catty. Looking at her face, Sasuke knew that he had irked her. I just wonder if you can do it properly. You even lost 2 times, to me, a genin. Lady Tsunade, would you like to order something? Shitsune saw the mood and tried to change it. Moreover, a 50-year-old lady transforming herself into a young lady. I wonder if it is okay for a liar to become a Hokage. Sasuke's smirk further irritated Tsunade. Tsunade was about to get up in Sasuke's face, however. Sasuke started. You are someone who supports others. Sasuke nodded his head, helping put some cold water on the fire brewing within Tsunade. At least this should counteract your lying about your age. In the end, it was all for naught, as Tsunade still pushed her face forward towards Sasuke. Go outside, brat. Outside again, Tsunade and Sasuke faced each other. Well, at least you ain't drunk this time. This further irritated Tsunade, but she had a smile on her face nonetheless. Despite how I look, I am going to be the 5th Hokage. Tsunade said. Who said anything about your looks? You may be beautiful now, but I know it is just a transformation. Sasuke replied. This time it was Tsunade who walked forward instead of Sasuke, as she looked at the necklace he was wearing before pulling him downwards so that she may lay her lips upon his forehead. That is for beating me. Right. Comment. 6 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 49, V.1C.49 5th Hokage 3. Sasuke is officially 13, or turned 13 years of age before the last part of the Chunin exams. A hot spring? Jiraiya's questioned. Yeah, just off of this road there's a nice town with a hot spring. Tsunade answered. You know Sato Hot Springs? Shitsune said as she was looking at a map. They say it does a world of good for fatigue and beauty. I would rather return to the village. Sasuke answered truthfully, for he wanted to get back to getting stronger and training outside of the village was more danger than being within. I agree with Sasuke, only because the village is in a state of emergency right now, and there's no time to procrastinate. Jiraiya supplied his own opinion on the matter, despite having a chance to potentially ogle some girls in the hot springs. It won't make much difference if we're 1 or 2 days late. Tsunade said, but both Jiraiya and Sasuke seemed to be of the same goal, at least in wanting to return to Konoha that is. Seeing this, Tsunade whispered into Jiraiya's ear. It's really popular with girls, and it's mixed bathing. Of course, Sasuke could hear her as well, his hearing only having grown better over time. Maybe my hearing was also somehow increased when taking in the Inuzuka clan's genetic chakra mutation. Because it certainly changed the way his hair was, as it didn't used to be as spiky as this. The Inuzuka clan's chakra mutation had been the reason for his hair looking like Madara Uchiha's, or at least that is what he suspects Madara's hair to look like anyway. So he stylized his hair this way, as his looks had only minutely changed. Jiraiya, upon hearing what Tsunade said, started to walk forward, not looking back, towards the hot springs. He stopped, before turning around with a strange expression upon his face. Sometimes it's necessary for humans to take breathers. We'll take 1 bath. Jiraiya had a silly smile upon his face as well. Sighing, Sasuke lamented having to always keep his Sharingan active now, for it also forced him to remember even these silly moments. Well, one can call it both a good and bad thing to be able to remember things good and bad. What about what you said before? Sasuke asked, knowing that he wouldn't listen. Whatever, I may be able to get back to the grind now as well. There is no training I am to receive from either Jiraiya or Tsunade yet, meaning I can do other things. Tsunade looked Sasuke up and down, before saying, "It's okay. Well, let's go." Tsunade grabbed a hold of Sasuke, before dragging him along. Is she a pervert as well? He thought, before his eyes caught two individuals a bit away from the group as they went towards the hot springs. And here comes even more trouble. Sasuke sighed, noticing that Shitsune was looking at him strangely as well. Really, no wonder Sasuke was annoyed. No matter the benefits, if someone is born like this, with good looks, they are cursed to have some form of harassment. No wonder even beautiful girls are the way they are. In his last word, some girls would develop a bitchy attitude and Sasuke could kind of tell why. It is no wonder why the original Sasuke also developed a rather cold attitude as well. While Jiraiya was waiting for some girls to come into the mixed bathing, Tsunade went to have some fun in gambling. Shitsune was forced to go along with her, of course, where Sasuke stayed with Jiraiya for a bit. After soaking himself, Sasuke left and was not too surprised to see that some people had taken something. Having left it on purpose, Sasuke knew that those two people coming were in fact some people looking for their money back. He left the necklace behind, already secure in the knowledge that he can use the Hiraishin to teleport himself to it at any time. Soon enough, he got himself changed and used the Hiraishin, instantly appearing in front of the very same two people that took the necklace. "I will be taking this back, thank you." Sasuke easily took it from their hands. What? Where did you come from? One of the two guys said. Don't worry about that. Now tell me, why did you resort to being thieves to get our attention? Sasuke questioned. They explained, leaving Sasuke to say. Lady Tsunade borrowed money, and now you want it back. Yes, nicknamed the legendary sitting duck. She played at the Akiji gambling den until she was penniless. We loaned her what she lost. That's right, and here's the IOU. The other handed Sasuke a piece of paper. My! How expensive Lady Tsunade is. Sasuke viewed many zeros, allowing him to know that Tsunade is not only a gambler but also a big risk. I'm Santa. This guy is called Bunzo. Santa introduced himself and his fellow friend. The boss ordered us to collect on the debt 3 years ago. The two began to explain their story, leaving Sasuke to wonder about just how many people Tsunade had intentionally or unintentionally swindled. Well, this isn't my problem. Sasuke looked at these two idiots. Well, you guys probably haven't heard yet, but that debt was paid a whole year ago. Sasuke said, which absolutely shocked these two men before him. Ah really? How, but. How do we confirm that this is true? I am sure that some mail was sent off some time ago, but you guys haven't received it yet. That or something went wrong somewhere down the line. Either way, it has been paid off. Sasuke cleared everything up, allowing the two men to finally be safe in knowing that everything they had done was all for nothing. However, what was of greater importance is that they could finally return home to their families, even knowing that it may have been 1 year late. Thank you, Lord Sasuke. Yes, thank you, Lord Sasuke. Both Santa and Bunzo thanked Sasuke and went on their way instead of wasting a minute longer here in this town. Back within Konohigakyo, things seemed to be getting along just nicely. Walking into the Hokage Tower, Sasuke nearly collides with the boy known as Konohamaru Sarutabi. Watch where you're going, kid. Sasuke said as he looked at the boy. Konohamaru has short spiky brown hair, blue eyes, and a small chip in his tooth. Konohamaru was also wearing Naruto's old goggles, a long blue scarf, grey shorts and a yellow shirt with a red Konoha symbol printed on it. Ha! Looking up, Konohamaru is frightened by Sasuke's eyes. Ah! I'm sorry. Konohamaru then ran away, presumably in fear from Sasuke. Waiting, Sasuke knew that Tsunade right now was having some important business, or whatever it is she was doing. Well, I will get her to check up on Lee just in case my diagnosis is wrong somehow. Sasuke didn't mind doing Lee this little favor, given he had unintentionally allowed Sasuke to learn some stuff from him. In the form of his taijutsu techniques, that is. I also got to introduce Tsunade to Sakura, and also learn some stuff from her myself. Too bad that I got no one that can help Hinata and Ino in particular. Whatever, I am sure that I can get Tsunade to help teach Hinata and Ino as well. Sasuke nodded his head, thinking that this would probably be the best next step. "Aho. What are you waiting for then?" Tsunade asked as she came after a while, seeing Sasuke here waiting. "Come. There should be some individuals within the hospital that may require your expertise. After that, I wish to get on with some level of training. I don't want to waste my time waiting." Sasuke replied. "I was informed of those too. Don't worry, that is where we are headed right now." Tsunade replied, before walking ahead, along with Shitsune who was following behind. Sasuke also decided to tag along, where he may be able to learn something more when he watches Tsunade work. Arriving at the hospital, the first person to be healed was Kakashi, the source of his affliction being mental in nature. Most of the time, one would see medical ninjutsu help in repairing the body, but there are times when healing the mind is also required. Medical ninjutsu is a branch of ninjutsu associated with healing, as well as the manipulation of their own, or another's body, practiced by shinobi categorized as medical nin. The use of medical ninjutsu requires very advanced chakra control, as well as extensive knowledge on such things as herbs, medicines, the human body and even poisons. The knowledge of medical ninjutsu can be used for a variety of purposes apart from simply healing. It can be used to create poisonous gas, deranging the target's nervous system, or directly attacking a target with chakra scalpels. In this instance, it can also help repair someone's mind somewhat. But from what I can observe, it is not actually healing the mind but instead is helping reduce or even negate the pain experienced from that experience. The Tsukuyomi is a very advanced and specific technique after all, enough to put someone into a coma. After healing Kakashi, whom still seemed to be somewhat vexed, but was able to move and do things properly, the next person on the list is Rock Lee. Coming across Lee, Sasuke greeted him. "Greetings, Lee." Might Guy himself was exclaiming about how Lady Tsunade was here to help heal him, even after the doctors had already told Guy and Lee that there is no way for him to return to a normal life of being a ninja again. Which is normal, considering they didn't know or even notice the changes Sasuke had done to Lee's body. At first I tried using the Kyuubi's chakra and medical techniques, but that in on itself was not enough. So, the next step was seals in combination with these other two things. In hindsight, it may be dangerous experimenting so much, but Sasuke was able to create a temporary seal that would over time heal Lee's body enough to not be crippled anymore. Lee however would still need a longer time to fix things, especially since Sasuke basically cheated using sealing techniques instead of medical techniques. He still needs training in the latter. Everyone moved into Lee's room. Tsunade examining Lee was able to tell that the damage was probably not going to heal. Wait. She analyzed that there was something different, or off, and was able to tell something amazing had happened. This is a miracle. She thought, having looked at the report and even seeing the damage herself, she would have thought. No, this is the work of someone. No one would be this lucky. Thankfully for Lee, even in the original he had a very, very slim chance to recover. I'm going to be honest. Tsunade built up the anticipation. You can still be a shinobi. You are lucky, as it seems like everything has coincidentally lined up perfectly to allow this chance. Of course, I am the only one that should be able to do the surgery to help you. Tsunade looked towards Sasuke, thinking for a split second that he had somehow have a hand in this miraculous recovery. However, that isn't possible. Or at least I do not have the knowledge of how this could be possible, not unless the doctors here were incompetent in their jobs, and I don't think that is correct. It could have been way worse than it is. If the conditions were optimal, the surgery would have been too risky, with a 50% chance to succeed and the other half being failure, would have resulted in death. This shocked Lee and Guy, but they were both thankful to whatever deity it was that helped save Lee from such a horrible fate. Lady Tsunade, this is Sakura, Hinata and Ino. I hope you don't mind teaching more than just myself. Sasuke said as he approached with the said three girls behind himself. I am Sakura Hirano. Hinata Hyuga, Lady Tsunade. I'm Ino Yamanaka. While Sakura and Hinata were rather polite or soft-spoken, Ino was a bit more aggressive in her greeting. With a twitch on her brow, Tsunade couldn't help herself but ask. Sasuke. I thought we agreed to only one of your girlfriends and yourself being trained. Is that what you said? I don't remember. Before you get angry, why don't you test all of them and even myself first to even see if we are worthy of learning from you? Sasuke asked. Even one of us is good enough. No, if even one of these girls is worthy enough, you must teach all three of them. If not, then not only will none of them learn from you, but you won't have to teach me as well. Sasuke. Sasuke. Sakura and Ino exclaimed, while Hinata was more soft-spoken. All three girls were not expecting something like this, a wager that would determine whether or not all of them would be able to learn nothing, or all of them would learn everything. Tsunade was quiet for a bit, but being unable to turn Sasuke down in particular, she said. Deal. Comment. 8 comments. Vote. 1 left. Chapter 50, V.1C.50 Rinnegan. Good job, Shio. You are improving nicely. Unfortunately, I don't think you will ever have the physical capabilities to actually stand side by side with me. Sasuke said as Shio's ears went down, her mood souring. After all, her master was only improving more and more, while the power distance increased between the two of them, however. But you don't have to worry. I do not have the same level or sense of smell you do, so you at least have that. It wasn't much, but for Shio, she would accept anything that comes her way. After all, most would question why Sasuke even had a ninkan anyway, what with his current skills and even more. What I am more interested in is whether or not you will be able to talk. Sasuke said, before sitting down where Shio lay next to him. Taking off his coat, then his shirt, Sasuke exposed his upper body. Sasuke's body had been sculpted after years of practice, leading to his form having some rather nice physical traits to look upon for any females that may see his form. Thankfully, Sasuke was smart enough not to just go around half naked, exposing his body and further adding fuel to the fire that were fangirls. I have put this off for a bit, but I think I will make a proper seal to actual hold stuff on my body. Sasuke looked around his body, finally settling on his hands, knowing that he would probably create the seals on both palms. The reason being, having the ability to access and grasp weapons from here would be better than trying to access them from anywhere else. Or I could leave my palms for some potential increase in my power instead. Sasuke had the crazy idea that once he finishes upgrading his eyes into the Rinnegan, he would transplant them into his hands, like that one Otsutsuki guy, before implanting Bakugan eyes as a replacement. That would certainly make things even more ridiculous than it is now, and it is not like I would even need it as well. Sasuke doesn't need the Bakugan for the future, but there was this very slight desire to just collect all bullshit eye powers like they were some Pokemon. Bakugan eyes, which can be evolved into Tensogun, with Rinnegan eyes in my hands that have access to Mangekyo Sharingan abilities. Sounds pretty good. Sasuke didn't think he could have the Bakugan and Tensogun within the same Mangekyo and Rinnegan eyes that he has now. He believed and thinks there to be some sort of limit and conflict between these things. Especially when it comes to the Bakugan and Sharingan, as he knows that someone may have the Bakugan and Rinnegan available in the same eye. I don't know what it is, but for now I will not do anything. Sasuke was just about to go through with his sealing idea to store weapons and items, but stopped upon thinking of this even more ridiculous idea. I won't know until I try this. Sasuke however didn't get up, but instead waited, for he had called someone to come over. A little while later, Shio would nudge Sasuke to tell him that someone is coming. I know. Getting up, Sasuke looks towards the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, orange-garbed incarnation of Ashura's spirit. Sasuke. Hey man. You wanted to see me for something? Naruto asked, confused about why Sasuke wanted to see him. I wanted to see if you wanted to train together for a bit. Sasuke said, hiding his true intentions, which, in all honesty, he didn't need to call Naruto here, but he decided to check his progress nonetheless. At this point, Naruto wasn't anywhere near the same level the other Naruto would have been at this point. Oh. Sure. I am definitely going to beat you, believe it. By the way, nice necklace. Naruto replied, his eyes looking at Sasuke's necklace. Why do I feel like something's been taken from me? Thank you. Now, shall we begin? Sasuke watched as Naruto in turn prepared himself for a quick spar. Naruto had no more time to contemplate his feeling, before he was engaged by Sasuke, being completely trumped and beaten. Huffing, and laying on the ground, Naruto says. Man, Sasuke. You have gotten way stronger. Naruto said, not noticing the small seal mark upon his skin, before it faded into him, no longer to be seen. You too as well. Sasuke didn't even break a sweat, as he regarded Naruto. Yes, he definitely isn't the same that he would have been. That's okay though, for I am on a path of power that wouldn't even require Naruto, just his power made as my own itself to deal with the future problems. The original Sasuke had some pretty broken abilities in the future as well, and while Sasuke can say that out of the two originals, Naruto was probably stronger, that didn't mean that the original Sasuke couldn't take Naruto down. No, it was more like the people of this world didn't seem to explore their abilities as much as they could have. There were some truly powerful abilities that allowed people to completely trump the world over, however only to be nerfed by the writers in the end. An example would be Sasuke in the Boruto series. What a disappointment. I will not let that happen to me. Sasuke thought to himself, as his own chimera seal activated and slowly started the chakra absorption and subsuming process. That should be it for now, Naruto. Sasuke said, sending Naruto off, as Naruto seemed even more pumped to try and defeat him now. Whatever. Let's just follow the steps that I should do to unlock the Rinnegan. I might unable to hide it once I do. Sasuke thought of solutions for this problem as well, but there was no way around this fact, so he would just have to show it off in the future, whenever that may be. In the middle of the night, within a large mansion, a girl was sitting by herself, still wide awake and drawing, painting something. Possessing long brown hair and light brown eyes. Her hair is straight on one side, but on the other side it is in a braid. In addition, she sports a clip with two circular designs. For her outfit she wore a pink kimono held closed by a pink sash with two pockets on the front. She also wore violet baggy pants and red mesh armor underneath her kimono and legs along with sandals that were orange in color. Under constant watch and surveillance by several Anbu and medics, the girl, born with a weak body, she was unable to perform the physical activities required of a ninja. This girl was Yakumo Kurama, the last surviving member of the main branch of the Kurama clan, and, as such, the heiress to the clan. Born with a weak body, she was unable to perform the physical activities required of a ninja. Worried about this development, her father petitioned the third Hokage to grant Yakumo a special tutor to allow her to become a proper ninja. This tutor was Kuinai Yuhai, who was a genjutsu user like Yakumo. Inspired by the example of Rock Lee, who was unable to use ninjutsu or genjutsu, and his relationship with his sensei Might Guy, Yakumo believed she could become a ninja through simply concentrating upon her genjutsu skills. But Kuinai lacked Guy's optimism and felt that she was unable to train Yakumo in this regard. She eventually refused to train Yakumo, instructing her to seek another path in life. But Yakumo's refusal forced Kuinai to later seal up the young girl's powers. This was done on the order of the third Hokage, as he had been made aware of the Edo, a sentient and malicious personality within Yakumo's mind, which had been generated from the ID part of her psyche. This personality could control her and use her incredible powers for destructive means, with the destruction of Konohigakure foremost in its mind. However, the monster overcame the seal, and cast the illusion of a fire engulfing the Kurama clan's household, which killed Yakumo's parents. Yakumo, however, believed that the fire was started on the order of the third Hokage, having overheard a conversation that she believed indicated that the third Hokage was planning to kill her if she became too much of a threat. However, none of that mattered to the intruder that had stepped into the abode of this girl. Girl. A voice awoke Yakumo, her eyes tired and sleepy but otherwise unbothered by this situation too much, still half asleep not realizing what is going on. Finally noticing something is up, Yakumo despite being weak of body moves off of her bed and stands up, ready to confront her attacker. Who are you? What do you want? She had spirit and drive within her yet, but it wasn't fully matured as of yet. However, this intruder came here for two things. I am here for you, to your genjutsu. The voice said, their face masked, and nothing about their demeanor or body giving anything away, other than being male. There is something however. Looking towards the eyes, Yakumo saw the eyes of the Sharingan, and while she may not be well versed in the arts of a ninja, that doesn't mean she doesn't know anything. Uchiha. Why do you want my genjutsu? She would have tried to call for her parents, but they were dead. She would have tried to call for the Anbu, but if this intruder could get past them, then she was probably doomed anyway. Don't worry about those Anbu. A lot of the time, they are useless. Asleep, is all they are. I made sure. I just wish to make a deal, and that is it. How about it? The voice didn't come any closer, keeping their distance for some reason. What kind of deal? She asked. I know of your weak body, but that is not something I can help you with. No, I know of the bloodline limit of yours that affects your genjutsu abilities. I wish to use this, and in exchange I can help you gain better control over these abilities. The voice answered honestly. Calm down, Yakumo. There is no one around, and using my abilities is dangerous. I should first try and see if I can find anyone else. She tried to move, however she was stopped. What? I know you do not trust me, but I caution you to listen. I could have gotten what I wanted forcefully, without your consent. The man's voice seems to darken and get colder at seeing her response to this situation. I won't give you what you want. Yakumo responded. Sighing, she just heard the man say something to himself. I knew that I don't have talk no jutsu. Well, also considering I am showing up like a villain. Never mind that. The man looks back at her, and she tries to step back, only to fall to the ground. I am not here to kill you, harm you, or do anything. The man seems to think for a moment before saying. Stuff it. This isn't working out. The person vanishes before her eyes before he easily grabs a hold of her, as he easily towered over her. Let go of me. She shouted, creating an illusion that manages to harm the man's hand before she gets into the hallway, running and calling out to anyone that she could, before tripping up. On the ground, Yakumo looked towards the intruder approaching her. Don't worry. I am not here to harm you, but to help you out. Please. Leave me alone. Yakumo said to herself before closing her eyes and thinking to herself. If only I was stronger. Her alter self was starting to come out as well, to protect her from this threat to her well-being. Yakumo heard the man sigh again, before coming closer. How many times do I have to tell you this, kid? Never mind. Kotomatsu Kami. 1 second Yakumo was being chased, and held by this mysterious person before she found herself back within her bedroom. Ha! Where am I? She got up with a start, sweating and as if she had just experienced a nightmare of some kind. Her windows showed that it was daytime and there was nothing to worry about. Getting up, she walked towards the bedroom windows, shining down a brilliant sunny light. Why do I feel different? Yakumo regarded herself, not realizing that her alter ego and herself had become one. No longer will she lose control, for it had been melded within her mind. Yakumo's genjutsu power was strong enough to at least view what had transpired as a nightmare, instead of intending for that memory to be thoroughly erased after the intruder was done. Narrowing her eyes, Yakumo wanted nothing more than to get her revenge. For mother and father. Somewhere else, a fair-skinned man with spiky, black hair that had a blue tint to it was currently writhing on the ground. His face was steaming, or more particularly his eyes were itching and being impossibly unbearable to not do anything, but shadow clones were holding him down. Stay calm. One clone said, holding on to Sasuke's right arm. Yes. I don't think he can even hear us right now. Another clone said, needing to hold the boy down with all their might, holding Sasuke's left arm. Will you guys just shut up and focus? Another clone on Sasuke's as it held onto his right leg, the same with another clone. In fact, there were other clones also maintaining a barrier, so that others may not come and see just what is going on. It has been a few days now. People have properly started to get suspicious. No other clone had been sent out to replace the others, for none of them could leave the barrier, without alerting a lot of people to what is happening. Patience. Soon enough, the full moon was shining in the sky, clear for everyone to see, with no clouds in sight to block the view. The thrashing Sasuke stopped, his entire being relaxed, but most importantly, the clones focused on his closed eyes. Slowly, but surely, Sasuke opened his eyes, directly looking towards the moon. The full moon. I did it. Sasuke said as blood leaked from the corners of his eyes. Concentric circles covering the eyeball, purple and most certainly thrumming with power.